I feel bad. I feel bad for Dallas Cowboys fans. I feel bad for Dallas Cowboys fans because, I don't take any satisfaction, enjoyment out of saying that I don't believe a team is capable of winning, you know, with a certain ownership group or a certain person leading the charge. But I really feel like that is not the case when it comes to Jerry Jones being the lead man in Dallas. It seems like the ego is massive. The ego is bigger than life. And if you didn't get to see or hear the comments he made recently when a radio host was trying to hold him accountable and talk about the errors that have happened under his watch as the lead man in Dallas, you should definitely take a listen. So, Daniel, play the clip.
Me go over all the reasons that I did something and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job.
Well, my job is to ask
y'all
why.
get a job, or I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man.
Jerry, we're trying to figure out why the team is.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. You're not going to figure out what the team is doing right or wrong. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you, you need to come to this meeting I'm going to today. There are 32 teams here. You're geniuses.
Jerry,
okay? Y'all really think you're going to sit here with a microphone and tell me all of the things that I've done wrong and without going over the right?
So, for me, after watching that whole situation and hearing the way he spoke to that reporter, it feels like it's a dictatorship almost. Hey, I can't be held accountable because of what I've turned the Dallas Cowboys into. Look what I turned the Dallas Cowboys into. I turned them into America's team. I turned them into the largest, from a fan perspective, organization that's out there. They're worth well over billions of dollars. This is what I've done for the Dallas Cowboys, created a brand that spans beyond just the regular season or the playoffs or the in season of the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys are truly a phenomenon to experience. Never mind the fact that I built a stadium and it's called Jerry's World, not the Dallas Cowboys World, right? Not Cowboys World. It's called Jerry's World. This is a guy, man, I feel like he's full of himself. I feel like the ego is massive. I feel like in Jerry's world, literally in Jerry's world, he could do no wrong, right? Whether that be handing out the contract to Dak Prescott, not letting him play it through, or letting it, get this far along. Whether it be the same for a CD Lamb. The fact of the matter is the Dallas Cowboys are famous and are talked about in large part because of the build of Jerry Jones and what he has done to make the Dallas Cowboys culture almost larger than life. But make no mistake about it, winning in Dallas is not two things right now that they're being known for. People aren't saying, hey, we know the Dallas Cowboys because of how much playoff success they've had recently or how many championships they won recently. For me, the Dallas Cowboys are in a situation in which they aren't going to win until Jerry does one of two things: put his ego aside and shut the hell up, or step aside and let someone else be the lead man. It's been their Achilles heel for a long, long time. Being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, you got to know, first and foremost, it's Jerry's way. It's not your way. And you have to be comfortable and okay to know that, hey, you're playing second fiddle to an owner that can't get out of his own way. Daniel, what say you?
Yeah, I think that the part that irritates me about this whole thing, Malik, is the fact that Jerry is in this world of his own. And props to Jerry. Obviously, when you look at what Jerry has done with this organization, when you really go and take a step back and see where they came from, it's definitely, he's put them on the map. He's put the Dallas Cowboys as the franchise in the NFL, quote unquote, but they're just not winning. And I think that there is a lot of the stigma around Jerry Jones that it's, whether it's an added pressure, whether it's him taking too much control, it's just not working. And it's time and time and time again where, hey, whether it's how much he's spending on, these quarterbacks and these wide receivers and how much he's not actually an amazing roster constructor, because he's not. And you look at a lot of times there is a ton of talent on these teams, but they just don't get it done. So my biggest concern with this is the dude just doesn't know how to take a back seat. He doesn't. And he doesn't know how to, really sustain success and sustain serious playoff success. And that's what concerns me. You look at these other owners, right? The Robert Krafts of the world and a lot of these other owners where it's okay for them to take a back seat. It's okay for them to say, hey, I'm going to let my head coach take the role. But the fact that Jerry is so involved in the day-to-day business, look at what Bill Belichick has done, right? Bill Belichick had serious success, but there's serious criticism about Bill Belichick as a GM. There's criticism about, hey, can Bill Belichick do it all? Can Bill Belichick do both? And I think that the league has just passed by Jerry Jones. I think it's time, man. I think it's time to hang it up. And that's the issue, though, is Jerry is prideful and Jerry is confident in himself and he's confident in the roster construction. He's confident in the job that they're doing. And I think he's got a false sense of what this Dallas Cowboys franchise really is. They are the most valuable franchise when you look at the equity and when you look at the per dollar amount. But the actual on-field production and the actual on-field performance, you are not the most valuable franchise. You are not the best franchise. You are a franchise that has a stigma around you that you guys just can't get it done in the playoffs. And a lot of it has this blame on you. So I think him going on that podcast and him saying that, I don't think he's necessarily, that was the most out of pocket thing that Jerry's done. He's done some crazy things. I think it just shows some frustration. And if I were in his shoes, I'd be frustrated too. But it seems like the moves that they're making, it's starting to bite them in the ass. And that's what concerns me, because from a pure roster construction, from a pure Cowboys standpoint, this organization, the team is going downhill because you just paid Dak a ton of money. You paid CD a ton of money. And what's really the next step? You lost your defense coordinator. You're tying your sales to this head coach, Mike McCarthy, and it just ain't working out. So I'm seriously concerned about, hey, Jerry Jones, where do you go from here? Who is the next scapegoat? Because I could see a world, Malik, where they just continue this ride of mediocrity. And at some point, it's got to get figured out. And getting figured out, I think, is changing at the top, whether it's head coach or Jerry saying, hey, I'm going to give somebody else more power.
But, I think the thing here that we have to talk about is you can keep changing and swapping out coaches over and over all you want.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, maybe I'm the issue. Maybe the fact that I'm not able to build something sustainable here in Dallas is the issue here. Now, we're not talking about from a business standpoint. We already know business-wise, business is booming for Dallas. It's always going to be. All right. You're going to get professional singers and rappers, whoever that want to perform in that stadium, and you're gonna have so many different events being hosted there. But in terms of actual winning football and success, I don't really know if I see that in their future. And I think that expecting Jerry to change at this point is fool's gold.